Dow Constantine in his the county address, claiming that homelessness is simply about a lack of available housing.
One widely held belief is that behavioral health issues like untreated mental health or substance use disorders are root causes of the homelessness crisis that we see all around us. This is wrong. University of Washington researcher Greg Colburn has shown that the cause of the homelessness phenomenon is not individual challenges, but a housing market failure.
Yeah, that's just not true. We talked on the show about, dissecting that argument from him. But the point I made was, even if it is a housing failure, you've been the King County executive for 15 years. The same party has been in control in our state for 40 years. So who should bear the blame there if it is a housing failure, which it's not, obviously? So Dow Constantine apparently did not like my commentary on his ridiculous State of the County address, and he took to his personal Facebook page and said, right-wing media seems to be losing its collective ever-loving mind that I said the facts about housing and homelessness out loud. They really don't like facts that contradict their narrative of blame and shame. But knowing the facts is essential to solving the problem. Here's the source. It's a good read if you have the time. It's in the title. Homelessness is a housing problem. Yeah, just because this dude named his book Homelessness is a Housing Problem doesn't mean that's true. It doesn't mean that's true. I also, oh my God, I could pick apart just that paragraph he wrote. I love that he's like right-wing media. You can say my name, Dow. It's fine. You'd probably get more clicks if you said my name. But I'd rather be right-wing than incredibly incompetent. The other thing he says about they're losing their ever-loving mind, that I said the facts about homelessness out loud. And that's what really not only struck me, because I know it's not factually accurate. I mean, we had on multiple guests on Sunday's show about what they see with their own eyes, people who have been there on the streets. But my friend Ari Hoffman with KVI reminded me of something, and thank you, Ari, for doing that. But when Dow gets on this tirade and says, they're mad, I said the facts about housing and homelessness out loud. This is not a drug or mental health crisis. How dare right-wing Brandi say that? This is a housing crisis. What's interesting is Dow Constantine is contradicting himself. Let's go back to 2018 when King County filed a lawsuit against Big Pharma, shall we? So in 2018, in this lawsuit against Purdue Pharma and some other big suppliers who were being accused of contributing to the heroin crisis that we found ourselves in at the time. That has since transformed into a fentanyl crisis. But at this time in 2018 and the years prior to that, we were dealing with a full-blown heroin crisis that was a result of, as the opioid epidemic, a result of overprescription of pain pills and things like that. So at the time, 2018, King County v. Purdue Pharma, what did they say in the lawsuit? The opioid epidemic has contributed significantly to the homeless crisis in King County. Wow, you don't say. That's interesting. So in King County's own lawsuit, when they were seeking a big payout from Big Pharma, then homelessness was a drug issue. Oh, if we can get money, homelessness is a drug issue. We'll tell the truth about it now. Fast forward now, oh, it's not a drug issue. That's wrong. It's a housing issue. Let me read more from this lawsuit. Again, this is King County. One particularly visible effect of the opioid epidemic in King County is the growing homeless population. That's so fascinating. Wow. It's as if I wrote this. Homelessness has become a persistent problem in the county. The 2016 King County one-night count found that 4,500 of our neighbors in King County were without shelter that year, a 19% increase over 2015. Although the causes of homelessness are multifaceted and complex, substance abuse is both a contributing cause and result of homelessness. The dramatic rise in homelessness in King County is due in part to the opioid epidemic. Some estimates suggest that the majority of the homeless population is addicted to or uses opioids. Prescription opioids have not only helped to fuel the homeless crisis, but have also made it immeasurably more difficult for the county to address. Gosh, this is really interesting stuff. So in 2018, when they want to get money from Big Pharma, The homelessness crisis is being driven by substance abuse. The vast majority of people in homelessness are addicted to drugs. And then you fast forward to now when they're like, oh, we already squeezed Big Pharma for all the money we can get out of them. So now let's squeeze the taxpayers to get money from them for affordable housing so we can continue to get funds rolling in for our cronies. And let's call Brandi right wing for saying the exact same freaking thing we said in a 2018 lawsuit. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? Wow. They also included in this lawsuit pictures, actual photo evidence of homeless encampments littered with needles. Said not only this from the lawsuit. Oh, God, this stuff is good. It's they make it so easy on us, right? To point out their absolute lies. Not only are there more encampments, but they have become much larger. As the photograph below illustrates, the homeless encampments in county parks can be enormous. The increased frequency and intensity of homelessness in county parks presents a myriad of issues. First, nearly every encampment in King County parks has used syringes, which present dangers to all who use the parks. Let's see, I just got to keep going here because this is entertaining me. More pictures of homeless encampments. Unfortunately, as King County's data shows and the near ubiquitous presence of heroin syringes at homeless encampments illustrate, many of the homeless people in these encampments are using opioids. It's so fascinating to me how just 6 years ago they drew this very straight line between drug addiction and homelessness. And now that line's like housing. It's crazy. And I'm the right-wing crazy one, right? And even the city of Seattle v. Purdue Pharma. Remember, it wasn't just King County. The state of Washington sued the pharmaceutical companies. Multiple cities, including the city of Everett and the city of Seattle, sued Purdue Pharma and other pharmaceutical companies. And the city of Seattle, in their lawsuit, said the exact same thing. We pulled that back up. Seattle has seen its homeless population swell. A 19% increase over 2015. Researchers estimate that over 50% of people with opioid addictions in Seattle are homeless. And Seattle's navigation team, composed of outreach workers and police officers specifically trained to interface with the homeless population, estimate that 80% of the homeless individuals they encounter in challenging encampments have substance abuse disorders. It also talks about how much the drug epidemic is costing them when it comes to it becoming a homeless crisis. Seattle spent $53 million to address the homelessness emergency in 2016, and more than $60 million is budgeted for 2017 and 2018. Included in these sums are millions of dollars for outreach and counseling services designed to help people get into housing, including shelters, improved encampments, and traditional housing. So you get it. It's like, first of all, these numbers are hilarious, actually. Reading back their numbers from 2018 from these lawsuits against Big Pharma, suggesting that, oh, we've got a crisis on our hands, the numbers have doubled since then. So they thought it was a crisis then. 4,500 people in King County? That's nothing now. That's nothing now. We talk about the numbers all the time. It's ballooned. So they got all this money from Big Pharma. What'd they do with it? Because at the time they said, hey, Big Pharma, you're to blame for the homelessness crisis. Drug addiction is contributing to that crisis in a major way. So we want millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we're going to fight this crisis tooth and nail, and therefore we're going to deal with homelessness. Where'd the money go? What'd you do with the money? Homelessness and drug addiction are both worse off now than they were then. So they don't, first of all, the absolute incompetence is infuriating. I can laugh at it, right? Like, Dow Constantine saying one thing now, and it's on paper in black and white saying another thing 6 years ago, yet he's attacking me for saying exactly what they said 6 years ago. But think of the dereliction of duty here. Think of the incompetence. I told Dow Constantine on Twitter today, I was like, you need to look in a mirror and really ask yourself if your constituents would be better served by someone else. You have presided over an immense increase in homelessness, an immense spike in addiction, we could get into a million other things like crime, etc. And you have the audacity to say in a Facebook post that right-wing media like me is losing its collective mind, that you said the truth and we don't like facts that contradict their narrative of blame and shame. You need to be blamed and shamed. More media need to blame and shame you. The fact that you don't feel an immense amount of shame shows that you're a narcissist. The fact that you can't look back at what you said about the homeless crisis 6 years ago and how it contradicts what you're saying today, and that you can't see how the numbers have spiked, how the number of people dying has spiked. Like, if you don't, you should feel far more shame than I could ever make you feel. You should feel shame on your own without the media having to blame and shame you. And the fact that you feel no shame, Bob Ferguson feels no shame, Jay Inslee feels no shame, the Democrats who got us into this mess and now lie about what it's going to take to get us out of this mess. The fact that none of them feel shame about what has happened in the state over the past 10 years is a perfect illustration of why they and people like them of their political ideology don't belong within 500 miles of decision making in this state, in Seattle, and in King County. Wild stuff. So call me right wing. Much rather be right wing than absolutely useless and incompetent.